everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Noor. Lovely to see all of you guys again. So welcome to another Chit Chat with Noor. Today I am going to talk about my favorite book format that I like to read in. I find that very interesting how different people have different liking to different kind of formats. There are the hardbacks, the paperbacks, so those are the traditional physical books, and there are also non-physical books, which is ebooks and audiobooks. For me personally, I love physical books. I like to have a book in hand whenever I read, and the majority of the time I read when I am commuting. So I read in a bus, I read in the MRT. So whenever I have the opportunity to read, I will. I know some people love hardbacks, mainly because they're sturdy, they're big, and some of them have like the most nicest designs. But for me personally, I prefer paperbacks as compared to hardbacks. I love buying paperbacks and not so much on hardbacks, mainly because hardbacks, they are really bulky, and it's just very hard to bring it around wherever you go. And having to carry that hardback around and to read during the rush hour in the MRT, and just to have that big hardback cramped in the MRT, I feel that that is kind of a nuisance to me personally, and it's just a burden just to carry that big heavy hardback everywhere I go. So hence I don't like to buy hardbacks. I realized as of lately that most of my hardbacks that I bought when I was younger are the least reached out as compared to the paperbacks. Hence these hardbacks are just at home in my bookshelf and they are not read for years and years. This has caused quite an interesting shift in my book buying habits. Usually when I go to a book sale, I will buy lots of hardbacks, mainly because it's only $8 as compared to purchasing one hardback in the bookstore for regular price, and one hardback in Singapore can cost around $30 and above. So to buy it for $8 is so worth it, right? But the practicality is not there, and right now I put practicality more as compared to aesthetic. So if I know that I am not going to bring that around and reading in the bus and in the MRT, knowing that that is the bulk of my reading time, then that book is not going to be read for years and years to come. So I would rather not buy a hardback, and I would just go for a paperback. When I kind of put practicality over aesthetics, I go for paperbacks, and most of them are trade paperbacks. However, recently I am more like drawn to mass market paperbacks, and I do know that mass market paperbacks, they're really small, and if you have a very thick book, then it's really hard to kind of open, and the fonts are really small. But then again, more practicality, less aesthetics. So I don't really care if the book is mass market paperback. I don't care if it's small and tiny. As long as it can be fitted in my bag, then that's good to go. What I like about mass market paperback is that sometimes you can just hold it with one hand while just standing in a train. Now recently there is this whole new invention of non-physical books. So there is like electronic books, which is ebooks, and audiobooks, which is very recent. When ebooks started to come out and there's all this Kindle, iPad kind of phenomenon, I was very interested, and I was thinking that is genius. You know, you can carry 1,000 books in one device, so you don't need to carry 10,000 books wherever you go with you. I did try on my phone once. I don't really like it, mainly because the screen is really small, and I thought that okay, that could be the problem. So I borrowed my father's tablet, the Samsung tablet, and I downloaded classics in there because it's free, right? When I got to a point of trying it out and opening it and reading it in the train, for some reason I wasn't as focused as I used to when I read a physical book. And then this whole thing about page being so flat and not knowing how many pages you are left with kind of bothers me. It's such a small minor thing, but for some reason I love seeing how many pages that I'm left with, and I feel like the more I read, the more I can see my progress, the more happier I feel. But with an ebook, you can't see that. You will see like, okay, probably page 38 out of 100, but I can picture page 38 out of 100 and I can picture the rest of the pages that is 200. I really need to see the physical form. So I figured that, you know, ebook is not gonna do for me, and I tried changing the book. I tried all kinds of books. For some weird reason, I just don't like the electronic device of it. I just really want a physical book. And now recently, I don't know if you follow me on Twitter, I listened to my very first audiobook, which is Divergent. Found out that my library has Overdrive and there's audiobooks. So I was thinking, fantastic, audiobooks for free from the library. I think you realize I don't frequent the library a lot, so I'm not borrowing books from the library. So I listened to it. I realized that I don't really like it. I was thinking maybe it's the storyteller. The voice of the storyteller in the audio is boring. It feels like she's gonna die. So I was thinking, why is she even telling this story? Oh my goodness. That kind of stopped me from listening to audiobooks. I decided maybe I should try something else because it could be the storyteller. So I was browsing it again, and months later, I didn't finish that version, FYI, and I saw Haruki Murakami. I'm like, oh, I've heard of him a lot, and my boyfriend reads Haruki Murakami, so yeah, kind of interested and wanting to read his stories for a while. I downloaded The Elephant Vanishes, and it's a couple of short stories, which is fantastic. I really loved it. The storyteller is really great. They're all theater people, so they have different kind of intonations. They have ups and downs and different voices for different characters. Here's the thing, when I listen to an audiobook, I listen to it, but I don't have the physical book with me. And I know that's what you're supposed to do in order to kind of fast read. You're supposed to listen and read the book at the same time. I didn't do that, and I've never tried. I was just sitting down and I was just listening, trying to figure out, okay, cool, what's going on? And then I slowly realized that I am kind of dozing off. Wait, I'm making my audiobook like music, which is bad. You're not supposed to do that. That kind of like stopped me from listening to audiobooks, and then I just can't do it anymore. Whenever I read, there is a voice in my head. I imagine if I were to listen to an audiobook while looking at my physical book, there are gonna be so many voices in my head and it's gonna bug me out. When I listen to an audiobook, I have nothing to do. I just sit down and listen, and it's just very, very idle. I don't like it. I don't like the feeling of just sitting down and listening. It made me put in a lot more energy as compared to reading a physical book. I just never went back. I never picked it up. I never continued listening to it. It just dies down, and that's kind of how I realized that audiobook is not really for me. In all that aspect, I prefer like the paperback, and the smaller the better. The more practical it is, the better. And my second choice would be a hardback, although it's not favorable. But the least I would say, I just never seem to be picking up electronic books or audiobooks. My brain just can't comprehend, and I guess I am more of a visual person as compared to an audio person. So that is my story of my favorite book format. Share with me in the comments down below what are your favorite book formats, or if you have any preference. Leave your comments. We'll love to talk to you guys. Until then, happy reading guys, and I will see you guys in my next video. Cheers!